A very good morning and welcome back to another daily market update. It is Fabio here on your screen and thank you for tuning in. Markets again moving like crazy. Yesterday was another eventful day with the most notable, let's say, happening being the fact that there was an announcement that tariffs would receive a 90-day delay. Now, this 90-day delay seemed to be fake news after it was confirmed by the White House that it was actually not true. So we saw a very short-lived spike up on stocks, after which we saw a massive reversal back in towards the downside. So let's find out where the markets are heading next for today. So euro dollar overall here on the daily time frame has been pushing up higher as of this morning. We can see that we're still inside this daily area of demand and that the overall daily fractal low, which is this red line here, is still being respected. We are currently reacting to these two wicks here on the daily as well, which are appearing to be our daily area of refined demand. Now, for myself, it is very, very clear the overall daily time frame is still in bullish order flow with an overall push up, a pullback, an overall push up, a pullback, an overall push up, a pullback, and we're now obviously looking for that next leg up higher in line with the overall order flow. Now, tapping into the weekly time frame, the weekly is a little bit indecisive, which is very, very normal. Obviously, with this much uncertainty, the markets are pretty much just waiting to provide us with the next big moves. This week, we also have massive numbers coming out on consumer inflation in the United States and also producer inflation as well. Now, looking here at this weekly range, what we have on euro dollar, I'm still looking for around that 1.12 level over here to get hit this green zone. So I'm still favoring an upside move as long as the weekly fractal low here is still holding. This weekly fractal low is the dotted line and the low of this doji candle. So as long as we hold that, we remain bullish and will continuously look for further upside to pretty much take out the overall trendline liquidity, which is resting above this 1, 2, and 3rd high. Going down lower into the 4-hour time frame, what we can see here is that the overall retracement is still very, very slow. We can see that the overall impulse is again from this low in towards this high, and that the market retraced into that 0.5 fib level. Now, we've been reacting to daily demand, but we haven't really seen any bullish momentum. Looking at the 1-hour time frame, what we can see happening yesterday is that we indeed saw an overall order flow shift here with this demand zone and then this demand zone as well playing out. But as we can see, there was just not enough momentum and the market just continued pushing down lower and lower. Now, overall myself, I was looking for potential long opportunities, though I must say I am being extremely conservative in these current market conditions. Yesterday I was interested in looking for some further upside on EURUSD. However, I didn't really see any good confirmation. So what I was looking for was obviously, first of all, this as an area of demand, then this as an area of demand. So what I did is I drew this out as my refined 50-minute demand zone. I waited for the price to come into my demand zone. I recognized this as a liquidity low. However, coming into that demand zone, you always want to see that confirmation that we're ready to push up higher. So here we had bearish order flow, so supply was in control. Here again, supply was still in control, and then once again over here, supply remained in control. So you can see the overall order flow and the overall downtrend in towards our demand zone remained extremely in control. We remained bearish at all times, and there was no real shift, no real break upwards with a lot of momentum, confirming that this demand zone was actually valid. Therefore, for myself at least, there was no loss to be taken. So overall, what I'm now looking at here on the 1-hour time frame is still for some further upside to occur on EURUSD overall. However, we can now see that we're kind of like at an area of resistance, and that the market is not really moving anywhere as of now. I'm mainly focused here on the 4-hour time frame. Preferably, I would want to see one more sweep of the lows, then a 4-hour change of character, and then look for a potential longing opportunity. This for me would be the highest probability play, that would just confirm overall that the trend would be bullish, because the higher the time frame the fractal structure appears on, the better overall. I know a lot of you are looking at this 15 or this 1-hour area of demand over here, and you identify this over here as the equal lows. This is also a nice potential setup, and that would be in line with kind of like what I'm looking for on the 4-hour time frame. So maybe one more grab of these lows and then a potential reversal up higher, and then I'll be keeping an eye open for the 4-hour time frame to look for a fractal structure shift, which again is nothing more than a structural shift on the individual candlestick. So let's see, do we get a sell-off in towards that 1-hour demand zone and then a bullish reaction and then that 4-hour change of character? Or maybe if we do not actually push down that low, what I'll be mainly focusing on is to see, okay, can this now, for example, be our next area of demand? And can we get some bullish order flow? Because still, there's a lot of trendline liquidity here resting. We can see that for now, this is the trendline that is in control and pushing the market down lower. So let's see if we can break above that trend line, take out those descending highs and get some momentum in towards the upside. But for now, EURUSD remains extremely unpredictable, and that is obviously due to the fact that China vows to fight to the end on tariffs as it props up the markets, guys. China has pledged to retaliate against Donald Trump's latest tariff threat and is stepping up efforts to support the market and the economy. Chinese bonds are at an all-time high. The Chinese yen or yuan is devaluating as well heavily, which is very good for Chinese exports, and China seems to have different plans and is looking to move onwards without the United States. Now, this is interesting. We're going to need to see what kind of announcements come from this, but for myself, the main focus and with, let's say, the uncertainty that comes from China saying that it's going to fight to the end, my main focus definitely still remains on, for example, the yen pairs and the Swiss franc pair as well, looking mainly for longs on those two currency pairs and not really interested yet in getting too heavily involved with EURUSD until I really see a lot more confirmation. Now, this confirmation, I also need it here on the dollar because we can see that the dollar is acting up and being very, very messy overall. We can see that we're still inside daily supply, so nothing really to worry about overall here on the 4-hour time frame as well. We can see that we're currently inside 4-hour demand, hence why I'm being a little bit hesitant with EURUSD longs, as the dollar is still bullish here on the 4-hour fractal structure. We can see that we have a very clear internal bullish trend. And if you would want those higher probability EURUSD longs, you would need a bearish dollar, meaning that we would need to break underneath this red line, which is the 4-hour fractal low. And that for me would be a lot more confirmation for any potential further downside. Now, to keep it very, very simple, guys, what we have here is, first of all, daily supply. Then, boom, we go down into the 4-hour time frame. What do we have on the 4-hour time frame? On the 4-hour, we see, okay, we come into that daily supply zone, but now what you want is that trend shift to happen. And when will that trend shift happen? If we break the 4-hour fractal low, and that for me would then be the confirmation for those further EURUSD potential buying opportunities. Okay, so that's it for the dollar. Now moving onwards into AUDUSD, we can see that AU itself is also moving extremely choppy. Overall here on the daily time frame, we've been buying up as of today. Australian dollar mainly pumping together with New Zealand dollar today under the assumption that China has some big plans to fight back against the United States. Still, it is very, very dangerous to be looking for any longs on AUD and NZD, in my personal opinion, due to the fact that the sentiment of the market is still risk off. So people are still not very interested in looking at risk on pairs such as the Australian dollar or the New Zealand dollar. So yeah, obviously a pullback wouldn't be very, very bad idea to then look for potential further downside. So what I'll be looking at is mainly the 4-hour time frame and the 1-hour time frame. So here, for example, on the 1-hour, what we saw was yesterday, as soon as the news came out that 90-day delay on the tariffs was going to come, we saw a push up, and then we saw, boom, the reversal as soon as it was announced that it was going to be fake news. So a lot of people who got into shorts with the stops here or here, they got stopped out, or even people who got into shorts over here and trailed their stops above the highs, they also got stopped out. So overall, some very interesting price action. What I'm looking for this morning is still for the downside. Let's keep an eye on this area of supply here on the 1-hour time frame. Let's also look at the 15-minute time frame. Obviously, the overall momentum for now is in towards the upside, so it's not very smart to look for shorts over here. Wait for some bearish momentum to kick in. Otherwise, just let it continue rally up higher. But we definitely need to see somewhat of a bearish confirmation, if at all shorts would be interested or would be interesting here on AUDUSD on the 1-hour time frame, because otherwise also we could just chop up higher and then, for example, start looking for shorts once again. Okay, going into GBPUSD, we can see that GU itself pushed down a little bit lower than I expected. I wasn't actually looking for this deep of a retracement. Overall, this is obviously your daily swing, so we're nearing the 0.5 fib. Overall, we came back down in towards pretty much this sell before the buy over here, which is now currently acting as an area of demand. Looking at the weekly time frame, we're now also in this weekly sell before the buy candle over here, and we've timed the reversal on the GBPUSD pretty well with this liquidity high over here being grabbed, and then the overall reversal coming in towards the downside. So from here, it does look good for a potential rebound up higher, looking for some potential long opportunities. But it is a little bit early still, with the overall, let's say, 1 hour trend still being in towards the downside on the immediate kind of like let's say momentum, right? We can see that we're getting a push down, pull back, push down, pull back, push down, pull back, push down, pull back, and then maybe another push down. What I do see here, and which is very interesting, is a sweep of this low, and this now being the sell before the buy. So what I'll be keeping my eyes open for is if we can see some more bullish momentum today, potentially back on the pound, and see some further dollar weakness. It will also be dependent on what the dollar index does before I would be interested in anything like this, but I do kind of like what we're starting to see. Obviously, the highest probability play will come if we see one more push in towards the downside, another fractal break, and then the 4 hour fractal structure shift. That is always going to be the higher probability play as opposed to a 1 hour fractal structure shift. So yeah, if you want the higher probability play, wait for that 4 hour to shift. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive, then just follow the immediate 1 hour structure. And on the 1 hour time frame, this is now demand that is in control. So keep an eye open for those potential longing opportunities after what seems to be a lot of manipulation. Obviously, the 0.5 fib is still over here open, and that could still be tapped. Even if we do push down lower, I would also like to look for longs from this area of demand over here, with some nice equal lows still open down below over here as well. Now, moving onwards into NZDUSD, and then also we'll have a look at dollar, yen, and gold. NZDUSD very similar to AU overall. Looking at this buy before the sell over here for potential shorts. If we do push up that high, that is where I'll be looking for shorts from. Then I'll simply go into the 4 hour time frame and the 1 hour time frame, and then look for those shorting opportunities. Yes, here on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, we already have kind of like this area of supply over here. For now, this is your 1 hour fractal low. So if you are looking for shorts, you would need to wait for that red line to break before looking for anything, and we would need to see some bearish momentum come into the markets. Otherwise, we could just continue pushing up higher and higher, and then I'll just be looking for those shorts only once we kind of come into that daily area of supply for now, okay? But for now, obviously, with the overall risk of sentiment still being in charge, shorts are the only opportunity I see, despite myself not really being interested in those shorts, as we are still at this key level of support. So I don't think NZDUSD has a lot of potential to go a lot lower as of now. So like, if you do take shorts, it would definitely need to be a lower time frame play overall, in my personal opinion. And that is what I would be looking for. Going into dollar yen obviously is still looking for further shorts. Looking here at the daily time frame, we are kind of retracing into this buy before the sell. Anything inside there will look good. What I would prefer for now is for this sell before the buy to still push the market up higher again. Look for one more push in towards the supply zone again. For example, this is a nice supply zone, and then look for bearish confirmation before getting into any sells. This is currently no trading zone, so one more push up, and then for me the sells would be ideal. Overall, again, dollar yen has retraced into towards the 0.5 fib. But yeah, that for me would be an interesting setup if we do get that one more push up higher. And then of course gold, last of all. Gold itself has once again been manipulating quite a lot. Overall, we saw another push down. Was looking for potential further upside push again yesterday, but we did not see a break over this high. So no longs, no bullish order flow at all. Looking here at the 4 hour, we can see that the immediate order flow is also still bearish. We came back down one more time to sweep the low. So now what I would be looking for is a 4 hour fractal structure shift, which pretty much comes down to break of this red line high. If we break that high, then longs would be on the table once again. So that's it for today, guys. If we break that high, look for longs. Otherwise, until then, short-term shorts are the only play that I see. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic trading day. Any questions, make sure to join the Discord server, link in the description down below. As well, we're going to be going live on YouTube this afternoon at 2:30, and I hope to see you there.